Okay. Cool. All right, we're live. Starting to get used to this now. Awesome. So, everybody, welcome to the Hive. This is Nick Good. He is in Dallas, Texas, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself. And he's got a little thing that he's good at, the recession proofing your business. And so he's going to talk a little bit about that with us today, and we will learn a bunch of fun stuff.
Absolutely. Well, first off, thanks for having me on, Michelle. I would like to think since Dallas and the Dallas-Fort Worth area is shut down right now because we had a little bit of sleet mixed with a little bit of snow, and it is 21 degrees outside. So here, what that means for people that in the northern states, that means we run the groceries. We go to the grocery store and we just buy everything like this winter is going to last for years.
It was like at the beginning of the pandemic where everyone was going to the grocery stores and like you couldn't get toilet paper.
Yes. And so I think at least we're prepared on that because I think, most people didn't use all the toilet paper from the pandemic. And so now they're buying milk and bread and all the snack foods, right? So, so I've been born and raised from Dallas, Texas. Been in the industry since 2005. I was unlicensed in 2005. I became a real estate assistant because I was delivering pizzas, which, by the way, the best job in the world. But I was in college and I figured if I really want to have a girlfriend or to get married one day, I don't think being a career pizza delivery driver is really going to be attracting the winners, right? And so there was a posting on my college job board for a real estate assistant, and my brother, who is my business partner, we wanted to be real estate investors. Right. And so what better way to learn the real estate investment business than to become a real estate assistant or to get paid to actually learn this? So I interviewed for the job. Luckily, I got it. I was the worst real estate assistant ever. I questioned why they even hired me. My old broker and old boss is still my friend today. And I'm like, I josh him every time. I'm like, dude, why did you hire me? There's no way that was a smart move. So I got hired in 2005, started learning how this husband and wife independent brokerage ran the real estate business, and got licensed in 2006 and graduated college in 2000. And so 2006, I got licensed. Fast forward to 2007, when I graduated college, they offered me a full-time position with salary and a little bit of override off of their commissions. And I was like, okay, this is what everyone wants, right? I'm coming out of college, I'm getting a great salary offer, overrides. I already know that they're a good business. But let me throw a little wrench in this is I just bought a house. I just got married. I just graduated college. And I was like, hey guys, what do you think if I just became a real estate agent and went 100% commission? Do you think I could make six figures? They were like, oh yeah, you definitely can. So I did what any smart person would do is I turned down that salaried position, went 100% commission, all while, being a new husband, being a new homeowner, and a recent college graduate that needed money, by the way.
And it's not cheap to get into real estate.
Not cheap.
Everybody thinks that because they see us and they're like, oh man, I want to do that for a job. It looks like so much fun. And then they're like, you don't pay for all that, right? And it's like, oh yeah, you do.
Yeah. Right. And so, by the way, I did not make six figures my first year. I sold 3 houses.
That's pretty good for a first-time agent.
No, I mean, I will tell you that it made me question myself as a husband and a man because my wife at that time was having to carry the bills and everything else. And so, I needed to make a change. Right. And at the end of 2007, I joined a brokerage here. People may have heard of it, Keller Williams. And so I joined them and needed a change for some better training. And I was 24 years old. And that training that I learned is that, what most agents were doing was not going to help me at that time. I'm 24 years old. My friends are still in college, or they're out of college and broke.
Yeah.
And they're not buying from me because they're broke or still in college. And and my friends' parents, they're definitely not using me because I'm their broke kid's friend.
Yeah.
Right?
The kid that doesn't know anything yet.
Exactly. And so they're not going to trust this green agent inexperience with one of the biggest financial assets. And so I had to go and really learn how to get uncomfortable, being comfortable with the getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, which is cold calling.
Yep.
Right. And that prospecting based method. So I started calling expireds, for sale by owners, and started getting some traction. And in 2008 is when here in the States, because I know in Canada, I don't think, if I remember correctly, when we had our recession, I remember always watching the reports. I think the Canadian real estate market still did very, very well, if I remember, during that time when we were going through our recession.
Yeah, I think we did I think we went through somewhat of the same thing, although I was actually just in college. I was in my second year of police foundations. So I was so young, I had no idea what was going on around the world.
Yeah. And so here, right, there was 1 month that I had 8 homes under contract. This was in 2008. And I mean, I'm walking around, I've got a pep in my step, and I'm counting how much money is about to be deposited in my bank account and what I'm going to spend it on. And then that's when the financial collapse happened. And all 8 of those contracts terminated. They did not come back to life. Thankfully, knock on wood, that's the only time so far in my career that I went 0 for 8 and wasn't able to revive at least some of those contracts. And I had no money. And I started questioning, really, if I had the staying power to be in this industry, right? That it's very, you got to get used to this emotional up and down roller coaster. And yes, and so what does any normal person do? You're broke, you're down on yourself, you're having a pity party. So I started going and looking for jobs, and started going on job interviews. By the way, the recession was starting to get into that beginning, the beginning stages, and so employers weren't really hiring; they were freaking out. And so I had to go on multiple job hunts, multiple interviews, and I finally landed a job interview at a foreclosure company. Right, foreclosures were stacking up. That industry, the REO, real estate owned industry, was really starting to take hold. And so I got a job offer at an asset management company to clear out a lot of the backlog foreclosures that were starting to happen. And it was my second or third interview that I got the offer, and I said, "Thanks, guys. I'm going to go home, talk with my wife. Give me 24 hours to get back to you." And on the way home, I had this light bulb moment, because what the job required was me to work 6 days a week from like 8 to 5 or 8 to 6, right? The salary was $60,000 or $65,000, which was great, because I definitely needed the money. But if I wanted to hit their bonus levels, I needed to work on Sunday and figure out how to squeeze an 8th day in on that week.
Holy geez.
Yes. And so as I'm driving home, kind of tossing this idea around, the light bulb moment went off is that if I were to commit myself to my real estate business 6 days a week, the way that this job would require me, this W-2 salary job would require me, there's no reason why I could not make 6 figures in the business.
Yeah.
Right. The problem was I was expecting full-time income on part-time effort.
Right.
And I see
a lot of agents think that way.
Yes, right. I was going to say a lot of real estate agents get into this, and even if they come from a corporate background, they're so used to working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, they're so burnt out, they get in real estate, and then they don't have a boss telling them what to do, and they're not worried about losing their job, that they just come here and just go to lunch all day long and sleep in and not do anything, and wake up wondering why they're not making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000.
Yeah, it's a rude awakening.
Yes. And so in 2008, I turned down the job. Again, remind you, I had no money, didn't know where my next paycheck was coming from. And I really focused on my prospecting based methods of really every single day being disciplined to my calendar. I worked 7 days a week, calling expireds, calling for sale by owners, and posting on Craigslist. And from since the middle of 2008 to 2022, I've never made less than 6 figures.
Good job.
right?
Yeah.
And
Consistency.
consistency, right? And recession proofing your business is about staying consistent in your business, looking for what I can, or having the mindset of what can I do? What's the one thing I can do today in that I can control to move my business forward? And the only
Right.
thing that I can control every single day is how many times that I reach out to people to look for motivated sellers and buyers. That
Right.
is my number one job every single day, and I can control that,
Right.
right? And so that's how you recession proof your business. It doesn't mean you have to make cold calls. It doesn't mean that you have to go door knock, right? It could be open houses. It could be posting in Facebook groups and driving people back with a question for them to comment. So then you can then direct message them, or it could be that you make YouTube videos and you batch them up and you become the local expert. So whatever you can do every single day to move your business forward, to find motivated sellers and buyers, you will recession proof your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. What form of communication are you finding that people are most receptive to? So, I mean, we all have our own CRMs that we use, and we have leads coming in. Do you find that text is the most receptive? Email, Facebook Messenger?
It's a little bit of everything, right? The younger generation, I used to say, was text. Now it's the older generation. I would say the younger generation's more. I'm starting to mess around a lot more in like Instagram messaging,
Mhm.
some TikTok messaging. On our Facebook page, on our Facebook business page, I'm starting to have messages in there where just yesterday I'm looking at a lady had made a comment on one of our postings about a property, and she's like, I've been, this was yesterday, I've been pre-approved to buy a home and I just need a realtor to help out, right? So a lot of that's happening in social media messaging now. That's kind of where we're seeing that's the new methodology. But I will tell you that phone calls are still the number one thing to do.
Right.
My agents average 300 to 400 calls a day, and they're still hovering over 8% contact rate. So that means people are still answering the phone,
Yeah.
right? You call 400, you do $400 a day, you have an 8% contact rate. That means you're talking to 32 people. If you talk to 32 people 5 days a week, that's 160 people that you're talking to. Do you think out of 160 people that you talk to every single week that you could funnel that down and find 1 to 3 new clients every single month?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep, 100%. That's all it is.
Yeah. Um, I had just thought of a question. I didn't want to write it down because I didn't want to be rude.
While you're searching for that, let me ask you, there in
I
Canada,
did this
right?
yesterday too.
That's okay. That's okay. There in Canada, I know that it's a lot tougher, with your calling laws, right? So what do you typically find is your best methodology for what your clients, where do they like you to meet them in terms of their messaging, and is it texting? Is it email? What are you finding there?
I find a lot of people are really receptive to text message. I don't know if you guys use KV Core or not, but we do, and I do find that when you're asking open-ended questions, they want to. It's like they need to respond because you've asked them a question. It's
Yep.
not like um, it's not the dry type of questions either. It's like, hey, I've noticed that you are looking at a home in Belleville. Are you looking specifically in Belleville, or are you looking in the surrounding areas
Yes.
as well?
Yes.
Question mark.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Right. It's yes, 100%. So you're dead on. And yes, we use KV Core. I mean, it's one of the best CRMs out there. And the cool thing is, you and I are both part of the same brokerage here at EXP, and so we get that included in our our monthly fee, that our cloud brokerage fee that we pay EXP. And honestly, it's one of the best CRM systems that I've used, and I've used all of them. I still have Boomtown as well to run a side by side comparison.
Right.
But it's more about as you're growing your business, right? You probably experienced this too, Michelle, because you are the most referred realtor
I
around.
am.
Is that in order to be the most referred realtor? I'm sure that you would agree with this. Is that people need to remember who you are,
Yeah.
right? So you probably need to have good systems in place so that you've got the right messaging going out to your database, to people in in your sphere of saying, hey, when I'm ready to buy a home, or if I need to sell right now, I need to call Michelle.
Yeah. And
Right.
the thing is too, is I believe that it's all in how you make people feel. So I'm highly referred because the people that I work with feel great, feel confident, have no regrets. You know what I mean? Like they're just happy with their overall experience, and therefore they pass, that experience on to family and friends. And I continue to do the exact same thing with everybody. And it's the consistency of giving great service. And I think that, if you're continue to do that, you're going to be in business for a long time.
So let me ask you this question: do you see that most agents unfortunately don't succeed at that because you're focused on how the client's feeling or the person's feeling, where a lot of agents in our industry is focused on the result or the outcome,
Right.
meaning if I'm going to talk to you, Michelle, and you're not ready to buy or sell, I'm not really.
That's
Yep,
what
on
most
to the next
agents-
one,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, they
And
have no interest, right?
yes, yes, and so thus the reason why we need to have a better focus on what our marketing messages are, and using the systems like KB Core has it where you can set it and forget it.
Yep.
And that's one way to recession proof that we do to recession proof our business is I can't make personally 1,000 calls a day. I
Right.
can't personally send 1,000 text messages. Maybe I could, but my thumbs are going to be tired, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to have enough time to spend with my family. And so it's setting up your marketing messages within your systems that, all right, Michelle, what's your birthday? All right, it's this day. So I'm going to input in KB Core, and every year on your birthday, KB Core is going to one, notify me, and two, going to send you a message, wishing you a happy birthday on my behalf.
That
Or
you customize too, right? That's the great thing about it too, is you can customize those things to your lingo. Like it's not like you have to use their templates. You can totally customize everything.
yes, and it's
Which I
about
love.
becoming that local celebrity expert. And so, the number one thing that we have really started doing as a change, because I used to be the one night stand agent. I used to be that person where I was like, all right, Michelle, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, I'm in and out, thank you. On to the next one, right? I built my business making cold calls with expired listings, and I was on to the once I closed you, I was on to the next one, and my referral rate sucked. It was less than 10%.
Yeah.
And we sell over, close to 200 properties a year. And if I'm only getting 16 referrals a year, that's not great. That means I'm not doing a great job.
That's right.
And what we started focusing on was less about the actual transaction and more about the person, the people in it, right? And then becoming that celebrity or that local celebrity real estate expert with, you know, I just helped Michelle sell her home for XYZ. Michelle, tell me about the experience that you had working with Nick Good and the Good Home Team, and letting them do the talking. And then my number one focus is as I'm using your testimonial, when I'm helping you sell or buy a house, I'm making sure that I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that's 5-star service, because I want the best darn review from you. I
Yeah.
want you getting on the top of your roof and shouting it out that Nick Good from the Good Home Team is the best real estate broker out there, and you shouldn't think of anybody else, because he's going to get the job done. If he says he can do it, he's going to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. And being, doing what you say you're going to do and walking the walk, and as well as talking the talk, right? Like agents talk the talk. And I find that, right now, especially, any agent's going to go into your house, say you're being interviewed and they're interviewing 3 agents, and they're going to tell them whatever they have to tell them in order to get that listing. And I'm a little bit different. Like, of course, yes, I want your business, absolutely. I don't need it though. So I go in there with a mentality of like, I'm going to tell you what you want or what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Okay. And the other 2 agents that probably came in before me told you, you can get $1 million for your house. Here's honest Tom's daughter here going to tell you that it's worth 800. You know what I mean? So I'm all about just laying it out on the table, being transparent, and I think that gets me not far ahead, but I think it sets me apart from the other agents, because I think people appreciate the honesty rather than the desperate, being desperate and just taking whatever you can get. I hate that mentality.
Yep.
So I do think that's really important in the whole process too, because there's people that don't know you that you're making an impression on. And not only just for yourself, but as, real estate agents as a whole. Like, we are all one in this, really.
Yes.
Right? So.
No, 100%. And a little pro tip on this, right? Where you going in there and saying, what the difference between myself and the other agents that you're meeting with is, I am going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. But when I first sit down, I'd say, Michelle, the agent that you're going to hire today, and I usually just kind of go like this, and the agent that you're going to hire today, other than getting the home sold for the best price possible, that's a given. What are the top 3 things that you expect that agent to do for you? Right. And I write it down, and sometimes I guide them because they don't always have it. And, I'm like, is communication important to you? Well, yeah, great. So, that way you don't want to be blindsided by anything happening. I would assume that you probably wouldn't like that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What about having a real estate broker that is a marketing, one of the top marketing experts out there that, with their marketing messages and their reach, can uncover every stone to find that right buyer that's willing to pay your price for the home? Would that be important to you? Well, yeah. Absolutely. And some others. And so I'm saying, okay, Michelle, so what I'm understanding is if I can show you how these 3, other than getting the home sold for the best price possible, I already know that we can do that for you. So other than that item, if I can show you how we can meet and exceed those three top items that you have, would there be any reason why we couldn't do business at the end of our meeting today? Right. And I'm going to know up front what my obstacles are, how to get them to say yes, how to make sure that I'm not just going to talk the talk. I'm actually going to walk the walk.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because I'm not a mind reader. And then at the end of it, when you go for the close, because you've already set it up that you're going to actually ask for the business, where, again, another little pro tip, ask for the darn business.
Yeah.
That if they still are hesitant, you're going to ask them what is holding them back from saying yes to you today.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're going to say, usually they don't make a decision on the spot. Great. I completely understand that. They still want to interview other people. Awesome. We definitely not afraid of the competition. Is there anything that I didn't cover today, Michelle, that you're hoping that these other agents are going to advise you on? Because maybe I was really wanting to cover these items with you, and maybe I just glossed it over. I didn't even bring that up. That's something that we actually do. Right. So I asked those questions. Then at the end, if it's still not a close, I'm going to say, Michelle, with your next interviews, I want you to be very, very aware of something. When I talked to you on the phone before coming out here, and then when I came out here and met with you, I asked for your business no less than about 8 or 9 times. If you go back and count how many times I actually asked for your business, right? The reason I'm bringing up, Michelle, and why that's so important is that when you hire me, I'm going to ask for buyers to make offers on your home, even more than that. And when you're interviewing these other agents, count in your head, focus on how many times they're actually asking you for their business. I will guarantee you that's probably 0 to 1 time. And if they're not even going to ask, or they're going to ask for your business only 1 time, do you think that that's going to be the right person to go out and find that buyer, because they're not even going to ask the buyer to make an offer on your house? Do you think that's the right person to represent you?
That's great. I've heard that one before.
The reason why we bring that up, though, is because when they're interviewing these other agents, do you think they're focused on what that agent's actually saying, or they focus on, in their head, how many times they ask for the business?
Yeah. Right.
Right. So that's the main thing is it's a little salesy, because some people get uncomfortable with that, but it sets you up for higher conversion rate, higher success rate. And we're also in the beginning asking them what's most important to them, not what's important to me.
Yeah.
This isn't about you or I. This is about them, the client, the consumer, the customer. Right. And we need to make sure that we're honoring their wishes. Maybe selling for the highest price isn't the best option for them. Maybe it's the least. Maybe it's getting a longer lease back. They would take a little less if they could stay in their home for 6 to 8 months after it closed.
Right. To help them find another house.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
What is the commission like down there?
So it's a variable commission, right? So there's no such thing as a set standard commission. I'm just going to put that out on video, right? So what we have seen during this pandemic, right? So you and I were talking before officially going live that with my topic of recession proofing our business, that I think this market, and I truly believe that this market is worse than the Great Recession that the United States experienced back in 2008, because we've had. Back then, at least we had inventory, we had product to sell, right? And there was more sellers than there were buyers, but the buyers that were out there, they were buying. Here, we've got more buyers than there are sellers, and just in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area alone, just single family housing, new construction and pre-owned, we have 0.9 months of inventory. So it would take about 3.5 weeks to sell everything available for sale in our marketplace. And so, what that means, and to answer your question about commission, is we've seen a downward pressure on commission, where you're starting to see sellers, even builders, offering less commission to buyers or to buyer agents, right? So we have seen some commission compression that we may never recover from as a real estate industry, and we're going to have to adapt as realtors and real estate agents of utilizing technology, utilizing better systems, so that we can remain profitable and still provide the best service to our consumers and clients as possible.
Right. So what I found in our area is everybody is just so desperate for listings. The seller goes and asks for a reduction in commission by 1%. They're all over it because they don't care. They just want a listing, right? They don't care. But I've even, it's so funny. So this was back in the summer, would have been my highest price listing ever. Beautiful lakefront home, absolutely stunning. They loved me, but they wanted a reduced commission, and I wasn't interested. I know my value, and I stand by that, because I mean that is what creates that downturn in commission when all these agents start, crumbling, and they'll conform to what the sellers want. And then if all of the agents that they would have interviewed would have all said no to the commission, they would have had to pay full commission, right? So all of these agents need to just grow a set and just say no. And then everybody won't have to worry about the commission. Long story short about this house, so I did not get the listing. They called me after, told me how much they loved me and that they would have loved to choose me. But at the end of the day, it came down to the commission. And therefore they had gone, to the agent who reduced their commission. They still wrote me a Google review on how much they liked me.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's hard as an agent to swallow that, because you're like, I could have made a sale, but I do believe in, standing by your value and, portraying to people you're going to get what you pay for. And if you don't stand by that, then, these types of things are going to happen, and it's going to hurt us all, I think, in the end.
Well, in one way to combat that, right? Because we do experience this, and whatever we charge that the Good Home team charges, I mean, we definitely have been flexible on that, and we find ways to still help our clients and consumers win.
Yep.
Now, what I would ask a homeowner or seller in this instance, just like that, I'd say, Michelle, so what I'm understanding, just so I can have a clear understanding of this, is that if is commission the only thing holding you back from hiring me today? Right? Mm-hmm. And if it is, then what I would do is I would run an incentive base where I'd say, great, so let's do this. If I'm able to, and I'm not just going to talk the talk, Michelle, I'm going to walk the walk. So how about we come to an agreement on this? If I can sell your home for this price or above, it would be X%. Or if I can sell your home in 36 hours or whatever it may be. Put incentives on it, so that the reason being is that consumers are not valuing the real estate agent because they see us as all the same.
Right.
Right. But if you're putting incentivizes in place, that not only that it's that you've got your client's truly best interest in mind, saying, hey, Michelle, if I sell your home for this price, like, I'm going to make more money, you're going to make more money. At the end of the day, we're going to be, we're going to get to that closing table with a big smile on both of our faces.
Yeah.
We're going to jump up and down for joy. And look, and if not, if it goes a little bit longer, if it goes a little bit less than we both anticipated, then it would be at this percentage.
Right.
So we have done that, and has really helped us in order to not lose those opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing that I start cringing at, and no fault to each of our own, is that even though we have our value in there, zero is still zero, right?
Yeah.
And if we start saying these to consumers, I know my value, and they're still going elsewhere, well, how much runway do you have in your business that you can bring in no income before you're out of business?
Right. Yeah.
That has always been my biggest concern with agents, that don't look for the alternative solutions. And
Yeah.
so that's where we've always said, because as a team leader running the Good Home team, my priority as the owner and the team lead is I need to make sure my agents are also making money too.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we started implementing that measure, and it has worked wonders. That way your client still feels happy that they're getting the best agent out there. They're going to get the best results out there. And if not, then they're going to get the commission result as part of it.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great strategy. I've never really looked at it that way, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you look at it and it's a loss for sure. And you look at that and you kind of kick yourself and go like, I could have just got off my high horse for just one time,
Yeah.
But it's not even about being on a high horse. It's just about making sure that people understand your value, which
Yes.
I think is a really important thing. And as I'm growing to lead other agents, I want them to understand that they're valuable, and their potential clients should see that. And if they don't see it, then we're missing something. We're not showing them, what we need to be showing them, or, telling them what we do.
100%. No, you are dead on that, and I think as we all have to learn that, right? We as agents, that is we all go through the life cycle of it's kind of the emotional cycle of change, where we come into this business bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. We're going to make so much money. It's not even funny. We're going to live in mansions and drive Lambos and have a private jet, and then we get in it like, holy smokes, this is a lot harder than I anticipated. And then we start getting a little bit of a negative mindset. Yeah. You're like, man, I just started this. It's only got to get better. Nope, it doesn't. That's, It goes down to where most agents, that's why, 89 to 95% quit in the first 2 years or go out of business, is because it doesn't get better. And they're not changing, and they're not pushing through what's going to make them better. So phase 3 of the emotional cycle of change is the valley of despair. And they want to quit and get back to that first phase of this euphoric feeling, where they were imagining how much money they're going to make, and all these deals they're going to close, and what they're going to spend that money on, and they didn't visualize the downside. They didn't visualize all the hard parts that it was going to take. And then once you bust through, phase 4, you're like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Then you get into phase 5 and 6, which is, what was once tough and hard is now become so routine that you can wake up and do this, and you can wake up and just roll out of bed. You don't need to prepare yourself, and then you just just like as these videos, you keep doing these videos, pretty soon you're like, this is so easy. Why did I even worry about making live videos?
Yeah, no, it's fun. I love it, actually. And the support that we have in our group, Honey Badgers, is phenomenal. To be able to just jump on a call with yourself and all the other people that I've jumped on with, and will be in the near future. I'm just overjoyed with the amount of support that I have, and be able to hopefully provide value to other agents and other people, and and just show them what an amazing opportunity this is.
Absolutely. It's all about collaboration over competition, right? That collaboration, and who wouldn't want to be in partnership with the most referred realtor out there, right? So I would be, learning from you where I came from. I was not the most referred realtor. Still today, probably not the most referred realtor. Now, we went from 8%, referral rate to 58% of our businesses now repeat and referral clients, and that's a huge jump,
That's awesome.
for that. And so if and that was all from learning, right? That was all from picking, brains of like yourself and other people of how can we not just provide better service, but how can we provide that aftercare touch so that we do become the most referred realtor here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area,
Yep.
or the most remembered one.
Yep.
It's because people remember how you made them feel. Right? They forget everything else. They
Yeah.
remember how you made them feel. It could
Right.
be the best result out there, but they're like, you know what, that Nick Good, he's kind of a jerk. That's all I remember is got the household, but he was just he's kind of a douchey jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all know one of those agents where you wonder how they do so much business with the personality and the mentality that they have. You just kind of wonder to yourself, like, I don't get it.
100%. Absolutely.
But anyways, I really appreciate your time today, and maybe we'll connect in Vegas or in
Orlando.
Yeah. I have a wedding on the 18th, so I'm like, oh shoot, am I going to be able to fly out like the very next day to get there? But
you can do it. I believe in you. You can do it. Well, thank you for having me on, and you are doing these lives. It takes a lot of mental commitment, right? Where we always worry about what people are going to think and about us when doing lives and not pre-record this. So you've done amazing, and hopefully people got value of what I shared.
Yeah. I even made notes. I made actually like 2 pages of notes.
Heck yeah. So if there's anything I can continue to do for you, Michelle, just let me know. I'm always here for you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.